I'm Maricel Pagulayan, and a friend of Audrey's, and
Yes.
came to InclusionFX from LinkedIn, and I was intrigued. You asked me, a little bit about myself. I'm Filipino American. I was born in Detroit, and I didn't start in visual effects at the outset. I came in from the production side as an indie producer, and then met some really great mentors along the way. In fact, I was doing a big wave documentary on Billabong, and met Joyce Cox right afterwards on Xmen 2. So she invited me onto this ride, which I thought was, you know what, I can make a little bit of cash over here just to tide me over. And then it has now become, 15, 18-year experience. I've always enjoyed working with filmmakers directly. I don't enjoy working on these big, huge things where you don't really get a sense of really what makes a story tick. And, we've been on a lot of huge movies where, it's increasingly harder to find that kind of a connection. So how I got started in loving, movies, I was a binge watcher since I was a tot, and I was punished, for watching too much TV. So here I am. Gee, what advice would I give my younger self? I would say, allow yourself to pursue what you love. That's really just sort of been my story, because I've taken a lot of, turns along the way. And I found that if I do follow what I love as opposed to what I should, being duty-bound Asian, duty-bound, female, all of these things that sort of place you in these, tracks. I think if at the very least you make sure you love it, because otherwise it's going to be a whole different experience, which is not to say it's bad either. They just open your eyes in many different ways and make you pay attention to when something really does work. What inspires me? As a career, stories that champion causes. If we look at Xmen, it was about being the other. I enjoy stories about authentic people, and stories that you don't find in, normal discourse. So in addition to Marvel, I think that there is another whole universe of stories. But visual effects is usually a star of those kinds of movies, although we are discovering, more usage of invisible effects. Like I watched Mank just the other day, and I was surprised, period piece like that done, with David Fincher is just great. It's interesting. It's been a longer road to where I am now, and I'm still finding ways and challenges that are outside of my comfort zone. So, one of the first times is in film school. Another producer, really loved what I was doing, but he said, if only you were a guy, and if you were only taller, they would listen to you. And, I was like, whoa. And that was, because he was also a friend. He was trying to say it as a compliment, but it burns you. And, when you work in something in our world of visual effects, it's primarily men. Primarily white men, and No, very few female voices inside of there and or approaches to problem solving. I think it has changed a lot, I think, for the better, especially the Me Too movement and all of, that sort of, made it everyone aware. I wouldn't say PC as a bad thing or a judgment. It's really about people being aware of their impact upon others. And if they would be open to just seeing what that meant. I mean, and I look at my little self, those many years ago when I was just trying to get into this business. It was pretty tough. Yeah. Not knowing anyone, just jumping in and, yes, sir, I'll make coffee. Yes, sir, I'll do this, whatever it took to get there.